that brings us to diplomacy. Now, like I said, the IOC is also a political actor. You can think of it as its own force in the international system. What can it do? Well, it has done and can do quite a bit. So, take for example the case of East Germany. Before East Germany was recognized internationally as a state, the IOC recognized the East Germans as allowed and able to compete in the Olympic Games. That basically gives East Germany international recognition. Maybe it's not official, but it gives it a stage from which to present itself to the world, a big stage. Okay? That's a lot of power for one organization to do, to give, and to provide. It provides international visibility to states that need it. Okay, so that's a significant diplomatic power, I would say. The United Nations and the IOC have come together to form what they call the Olympic Truce, which is it's an idea that during the Olympic Games, all states involved with the Olympics will not fight. There will be no wars a week before, during, and a week after the Olympics. It's a nice idea. The effectiveness of it is a little questionable, but the fact that they have paired with the United Nations, again, gives the IOC significant international credibility, not to mention the fact that the UN flag flies over all Olympic sports. Okay, so if the Olympic flag is flying, so is the United Nations flag. So again, you have this non-transparent, non-accountable representative IOC paired with and seemingly equal to the United Nations. It gives it significant power. It gives it some, I think, legitimacy. Okay. Now, about diplomacy. The other way that the IOC, I would say, has power in the international system is that it puts a lot of pressure on the states that get the games about the way they produce the games and the way they portray the games and what they do during the games. For example, if a city has the Olympic Games, there can be, and I quote, no kind of demonstration or political, religious, or racial propaganda permitted in any Olympic sites, venues, or other areas. And of course, we've seen arrests in Sochi and other places for attempts at protesting during the Olympic Games. Now that might seem like, oh yeah, you're right, we should do that, right? Because it's the Olympic Games and it's about sports and there shouldn't be politics involved. But think about what that's saying. This International Olympics Committee, this non-transparent, non-elected body, is telling a sovereign country that it cannot have political, religious, or social demonstrations during the Olympic Games. That is a significant, I would say, encroachment on the idea of sovereignty. Okay? That's a diplomatic power. Right? That's a diplomatic power that I think any actor would want. And states usually abide by it. Okay? They can create a sense of the Olympics is a pure, non-political event, therefore you cannot partake in politics during the Olympics. It's interesting. The other way I would say the IOC is a highly diplomatic organization is just by granting the Olympics to a state. It is handing a country what we call in IR soft power. Okay? Soft power isn't military, but it's the power to attract tourism, attract visibility, attract trade, attract or develop national pride, the feel-good factor. Okay? That matters. That matters in IR. That matters in the international system. And so the ability to grant that to a country that's powerful. That's a powerful tool and a powerful gift, I guess you could say. Finally, I would just say that the other issue, of course, with diplomacy is that it can be poorly done and there can be poor choices made. Of course, the IOC has granted the Olympic Games to Germany in 1936 under the Nazi leadership, not once, but twice. They also were granted the 1940 Games. That didn't happen because Germany invaded Poland. But they would have. So not once, but twice, the IOC grants the Olympics to a clearly non-democratic state.